media that they're absorbing all of the time. It helps them be not only more critical about their world, but think about becoming content creators. You talk about your grandchild and the lightning fast thumbs. Most students, by the time they reach my class in 4th grade, already have an email address, have already created some sort of content, already collaborating in some sort of social network online somewhere. The generation that is here, and has been here for quite some time, I think we're just now identifying it, is a whole generation of digital natives. The rest of us, in some ways, are digital immigrants. This is the world they were born into. We all get those emails that go around. If you were born in 19, fill in the blank, the cell phone wasn't here, the answering machine wasn't here, we talk about these technologies. These are the tools of their generation. If we don't start to leverage these in the classroom, there's a disconnect that's happening, and some of the things that Bobby's trying to do and that Mark is doing with free textbooks and Andrew is doing by empowering students, if we don't do this, the whirlpool that is public education, that is not preparing our students for the flat world that Tom Friedman talked about, our kids will not be competitive. And then it has all sorts of geopolitical, socioeconomic implications for the future of our country. It is this important that we do this.
Can I be so bold as to say, what are they missing, and do we have to worry about that, the things that they're not learning?
This is a bigger, I mean, while it's very nice to know that we're, going to teach kids media literacy, we're going to teach them X, Y, or Z, this is a bigger question than that. The question is we've got to look at education in a completely different light, or it's not going to change. So the fact that they're now bringing an iPod into the classroom or telephone, unless we look at the structure of education and the people that decide what our kids are going to learn and how they're going to learn it and where they're going to learn it, we're not going to change education. And open sourcing has changed the way we think about developing code. How many of you use OpenOffice, or how many of you use Linux, or how many of you think about what those particular projects have done for the rest of the world in changing the way of access to the computer? If we think of those benefits of open source and we apply that to education, then creating literacy and creating universal access and the kind of things that Mark's doing and the kind of things that David's teaching his graduate students, we're going to look out of the box here, and that's a dangerous idea, because when I meet with Marjorie Scardina's group at Pearson, or I meet with the Holt people, or I meet with Reed Elsevier, and I tell them that I want them to give me their content from the old books that are sitting on the bookshelves so that I can use that as to germinate open source textbooks, their first reaction is to say, "You want what?" And then, after I go in and explain to them that this is an opportunity for them to, one, reach markets that they couldn't reach before, two, create access, universal access, and they can be the distribution model, they begin to think that maybe there is an economic model here where they can change education and do well and do good. So we're thinking about open source in a much larger way to change education. And people like Mark and Terry and Carrie